That was tight. Hey yo guys, man, I can't believe we just got No More Heroes 3 for the Switch. But not only that, we also got the first two on there too. Those were some great Wii games and I'm glad they're more accessible today. So the first game was actually ported over to the PS3 and 360 as No More Heroes Paradise. But those games are actually stuck on those consoles because they haven't been ported or any way to get them on the newer consoles anymore. And it's a shame because those are the nicest looking No More Heroes games too. So I'm glad those games haven't been forgotten on that generation. And much thanks to the Joy-Cons too, because with their motion control, it brought back the game's original playstyle. I mean, even Pseudo51 said himself that the reason why No More Heroes 3 was made was because the Joy-Cons had motion control. So you know what that means? That means that these Joy-Cons are our gateway to bringing back more Wii games over to the Switch. Because man, the Wii was home to some great games, and yeah, it had a lot of shovelware, but we're not here to talk about Carnival games. I mean, it's actually pretty crazy that game made numbers, and it's actually on the Switch right now too. We actually have a couple Wii ports to the Switch, but out of all the games to get that special treatment, Carnival games was one of those games. Like, come on man, I actually don't know if this is a port or a new title, but come on, bring something else on there. And it sucks because there's so many better games to bring over. The Wii had so many good games. I mean, it had a stigma that it wasn't a real console during the generation just because of its whole casual approach. And unfortunately for the Wii, it was very underpowered for its generation and missed out on so many titles. It did get its fair share of rare inclusions that were only reserved for the PS3 and 360. I was actually that kid playing Call of Duty World at War on the Wii, and yeah, I missed out on some zombies. And yes, it was a downgrade graphically, but I'm gonna die in this hill saying that the motion controls were good. A lot of people don't want to wrap their heads around it and say that, you know, motion controls are annoying, but if you took the time, motion controls are pretty legit. And yeah, I can acknowledge how lame I sound right now. You don't know how tough it was sometimes just to be that kid that played the Wii. But those games eventually will be left out of the Wii's library. I mean, it made a lot of sense. Those games were just too big and people weren't buying them. Instead, we would get more unique style of games that would take advantage of the Wii's motion and pointer controllers. Or if not, they will just get really creative with the hardware capabilities or their lack of. But before we start my wish list, let's get back to the games on topic that were actually ported to the Switch. Here's some good ones. We actually got Mario Galaxy and Skyward Sword on the Switch. And Super Mario Galaxy is still amazing. It's not a remaster, it's just a port on the Switch, but the graphics still hold up and its gameplay is still spectacular. Man, taking Mario to space was astronomically fun to its gameplay and its gravity mechanics. I remember just jumping from planet to planet and just seeing Mario loop from planet just with its gravity. It was so much fun. And as polarizing as The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword is, it's still a great Zelda game that was ambitious enough to take the advantage of the Wii Motion Plus more accurate controls, yet the fans were split on this one. Some hate and love it, some praise its gameplay, story, and structure, while others just plain hate it. And I played it right after the whole fiasco, and I thought, while sure not a perfect game, it's still a great Zelda game, and I'm glad it made its way onto the Switch where I finally got to play it. I really missed out on that gold Wii remote though. Sonic actually had a few titles on the Wii. Some were good, some bad, some really bad. But the best one was Sonic Colors. They just blended both the 2D and 3D Sonic into one, and they finally made a Sonic game not feel awkward on a newer generation platform. The game was really fast, it was fun and colorful just like previous Sonic games. And now it finally makes its way on the Switch, and before I actually, thought about making this video, that was a good thing, but now it's looking pretty bad with all the glitches and everything. So hopefully that gets fixed up, patched up, or I don't know what they're going to do with that game, but I hope it just gets fixed. I really wanted to play that. And speaking about colors, The Blob actually made its way onto new consoles too. It's a game about painting a whole dull world with colors, and it reminds me a lot about Splatoon and also Katamari. I was actually surprised when it got announced that it was coming to newer generation consoles because of all games The Blob was coming over, but either way, it's a nice addition though. And then we finally got Xenoblade Chronicles on the Switch last year. This was on the Wii and made its way into the new 3DS in 2015. But now we have the definitive edition. This game was actually necessary for the Switch since we have the sequel, and many players actually jumped on that without playing the first title. I mean, Show got really popular thanks to Smash Bros, but a lot of people didn't have a way to play the first game, so people just bought up Xenoblade Chronicles 2, and it's very rare nowadays too actually. So if you want a physical copy, I would recommend you to buy one today, or if not, just get it digital because Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is actually available digital, but I like to have physical games. I'm sure there are other ports on the Switch that I forgot to mention, so let me know in the comments. If not, I think I went over all of the ones available at the moment, but not every game was lucky, so let's go over those right now. I mean, here's an easy one. Where is Super Mario Galaxy 2? Why didn't we get that with the Mario 3D All-Stars? I need closure. I never got that 121st Power Star, and it's one of the biggest gaming regrets I've ever had. Huh. That actually makes for an interesting video, so watch out for that one. And don't forget to subscribe, easy plug. And then there's Twilight Princess. I mean, again, that's on the Wii U and not on the Switch, but I've been over this one already, so that's all I'll say about this one. Another series they have to bring back from the dead is Punch-Out. Punch-Out on the Wii was actually a great game. There has been no sign of a new Punch-Out game coming out soon, and little Matt keeps getting bullied on the Smash scene, so give him some redemption. Also include that Club Nintendo dogfight. I wasted some useful coins on that instead of getting the Mario hat. I still don't know if I made the right choice on that one still. But hey, bring back the Wii game, or if not, just give us a new one, please. And let's talk about one of the most forgotten Paper Mario games that actually needs some love. Super Paper Mario might be the last great Paper Mario game, because while it's straight away from the RPG gameplay and its elements, at least it was upfront about it and didn't ruin it just like the later titles would. This game would only benefit from a triple pack though, I believe, because fans would be really upset if it's ported before the first two, but I'm sure it wouldn't get complaints with its inclusion in the 3-pack, and the 3-pack would be amazing. And how about Kirby's Epic Yarn? That was such a great game on the Wii, and it also made its way onto the 3DS. That came out in 2018, which was a weird time because the Switch was out and the 3DS was out, so it made its way onto the 3DS while not making it on the Switch's library. It was just a strange transition period we were going through where they still wanted to support the 3DS, but a lot of the games they received were a lot of ports that could have just made its way into the Switch at the time. So it was such a weird time, but we'll talk about that situation for another time. And I gotta do it, I also gotta bring up Wii Sports. Wii Sports was so much fun. It's an easy port to bring over. It's just waggling. And while you're at it, bring over Wii Sports Resorts 2. That was just as great as Wii Sports and just a little bit, maybe not even better, but you know, it was supposed to be better with its Wii Motion Plus, and just bring it over with the Joy-Cons. I know we got 1-2 Switch, and while that was just fine, but a Wii Sports game that took advantage of the Joy-Cons, I think would have done way better than what 1-2 Switch actually was. And while we're on the topic of just motion controls, why not just bring back all those GameCube Wii Play motion games too? That'd be a great way to cheat the system to finally get some GameCube games on here. Metro Prime Trilogy, I mean, come on, what are we all waiting for? But enough about all these Nintendo games. How about the other great games that are also on the Wii? I know you guys are just gonna chew me out if I just make another video about only Nintendo games. Alright, let's talk about some cult classics, and what list would this be without Mad World? This black and white, oh wait, let's not forget also about Red, is one of the few rated M games on the Wii, but that's not its only claim to fame. The game was so unique with its art style, fun gameplay, and great voice acting to boot. The announcers in the game were just so much fun, and just bring back this game from the dead, you know? And if we're gonna bring back more things from the dead, how about the House of the Dead Overkill? And while we're at it, Dead Space Extraction 2. Rail shooters are such fun arcade games that we don't get to see often anymore, so bring back these were fun. With the Joy-Cons we can get the same experience. I mean, without the sensor bar it's not going to be as accurate aiming, but we can manage, I'm sure. I mean, this is too much to ask of Nintendo, but you can bring back Sin and Punishment. That will give us a rail shooter fix. And everyone remembers Red Steel, right? One of the first Wii games to release that showed off a mature game and how it can take advantage of the motion controls, but man was it bad. But with the announcement of Motion Plus, Red Steel would make its return with a huge rebrand. Oddly enough, it was announced as a sequel but shared nothing with its predecessor. Resident Evil 2 was actually a Western samurai game, and I hope that's right, but you were just like a cowboy but also a samurai that had a sword. So it was a first-person shooting game with sword gameplay at the same time. It worked. This time around, Red Steel was actually refined and polished. Even graphically, the game impressed with its borderline cel-shaded art style. I would love to see this game back and even see a sequel if possible. And for my Pikmin fans, there was also Little King's Story that was so popular at the time. I never got to play the game actually, but I remember seeing so much praise that I got, and this would give a lot of us a chance to play it. And then there were some silly games too that were a lot of fun, like Boom Blocks, a Steven Spielberg produced game. Yeah, you heard that right, Steven Spielberg, the movie director. This was actually like the original Angry Birds but in 3D. Like I said, it's Angry Birds but with Jenga, but don't let that fool you, it was a lot of fun. Another weird one too was actually Deadly Creatures, a game about scorpions and tarantulas and like other insects. Another one I didn't get to play but had a cult fan base and had a lot of great reviews. Looking at the clips, it looks so odd, so it's one that I really want to try out. And we reached the last one on the list, The Last Story. That title worked out for the last one on the list. This is a popular title in Japan, but it took a huge push from fans to make Nintendo bring it over to the States. Even then, the game got a small print and became a rare game and prices rose. I remember for Black Friday, GameStop had the game for $49.99 for a used copy. So this is another great game that deserves to be brought over to the Switch so it can get a new life, and I'm pretty sure it'd sell a lot on the Switch too. So yeah, I think that's about everything I can remember. I probably did leave a lot of games out, but hey, it's hard to remember when you're on the spot. I mean, yeah, Mario Kart Wii could be a game they could bring back, but I mean, we already had the Superior Mario Kart on there already. It might just be me because I thought that Mario Kart Wii was super unfair with its items. Same with Brawl, we already had Smash Ultimate. I didn't bring up Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn because I feel like that obviously deserves to be on the list, but I believe it's a game that's going to make its way onto the Switch or a future Switch console or whatever Nintendo goes with. And well, Metro Other M almost killed the Metro franchise. Okay, that might be a bit extreme, but man, that game was so hated. The story was a mess, but the gameplay had its interesting moments. It tried to be a modern Super Metroid, but maybe one day they can go back and make it better, because I didn't think it was that bad, but I know it was hated. And yeah, there's still a way to play all these games. The Wii isn't that old, but just old enough. A lot of the games are over 10 years old, but still available at some cases. The Wii is really easy to get, and some titles are just maybe a little too expensive to get, so it'd be nicer to have an easier way to get these games. I mean, like I said in my previous video, the Switch could be the ultimate all-in-one Nintendo gaming machine, and it would be awesome to see all these make it onto the Switch. As far as bringing back these games, hopefully they come over to the Switch too, because the Switch is a little late in its life cycle. I mean, we're not going to get a virtual console on it, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to make it into the NSO Online games. I mean, we're still stuck on Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, which is a whole other discussion. I'm sorry, I'm a 3DS owner, and all those games are available on its virtual console. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a welcome addition, but it's so late. I mean, I already have those on my 3DS, and yes, I still play my 3DS in 2021. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys also missed the Wii, or it's just me. If you guys are mad at me that I missed a bunch of titles, let me know in the comments what I missed, because I would love to go back and see those games too. If you made it this far into the video, please do subscribe. If you like my content, I'll be posting more in the future, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, I appreciate you.